Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we review the 2021 Transformers Annual. We go over IDW's second quarter fiscal results, and we talk about a new Transformers augmented reality game. Today is Friday, June 25th, 2021, and this is episode 239 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that never thought Pokemon Go and Transformers was a winning combination. But here we are. I'm your host Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
The amazing and awesome producer and editor Mike.
Prime, Pika Prime.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Pika, no. Let's talk Transformers.
What about Pokemon?
Move it along.
Daryl, if they did a transforming Pikachu, you'd buy it. I know you would.
Probably not, but we'll see. You make one.
Okay.
All right, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support the show. We really appreciate it. And, you keep the show going, and we provide some perks to hopefully keep incentivizing you to continue to contribute. So we appreciate it. One of those perks is getting an automatic entry into our monthly Toy Hacks $10 gift code drawing. And the one for June is coming up very soon. So you've only got a couple of days to finish entering. You need to get your entries in by Sunday, June 27th. So this Sunday, that's when we'll be doing the drawing. So you can either become a Donatron if you're not one already. If you are one already, don't worry, you're in the contest already. But if you're not a Donatron and you still want to enter, you can by sending an email to contest@transmissionspodcast.com and just send us a picture of the Transformer you'd like to get some labels from Toy Hacks for. So contest@transmissionspodcast.com is where you send that email, or you can just become a Donatron and that will automatically enter you into the contest. So look forward to that at the end of June. And another perk of being a Donatron is you get access to all of the bonus uncut Empire of Rust episodes early. And this is from our live play RPG podcast, the first and only Transformers RPG podcast, run, of course, by our awesome editor, Mike. And we have the uncut version of Empire of Rust episode 53 coming up. So this is coming this Monday, June 28th. This is Spongin the Third. Good things come in threes.
Damn it, I was this close to changing the title, but nope. Locked in now. Oh well.
Is Jeremy, any comments on this next episode title?
I don't know. I've given up already.
You're not mad, just disappointed.
Yeah, and I might have been working on financials notes.
So disappointed he didn't even hear what the title was.
I mean, I see what the title is. It's just, but
Spongin 3, Spongin with a vengeance.
Spongin Strikes Back. Come on.
Spongin of the Sith.
All right. Well, check out that Empire of Rust. Of course, if you're a Donatron, you will have access to that through our Patreon page or our Patreon or our Donatron Dropbox, and you'll get the longer cut of the episode with all the outtakes left in there. And this is early, so you're getting it before everyone else, all the regular listeners. So please don't spoil it for everyone else, but enjoy the early version of Empire of Rust episode 53. All right, let's get into the show, starting off with some comics news. All right, just one bit of comics news, but I think I'm going to need our financial expert, Jeremy, to take this one because this has to deal with IDW's second quarter fiscal year earnings. So, Jeremy, do we have good news or bad news?
Good news. They actually have they had a pretty good quarter. Revenue was up 10.1 million, up from 9.3 million a year ago. Direct market sales have been continuing to recover from the COVID-19 shutdowns. So it looks like people are getting back into comic shops. And they have had a number of really successful comics. They didn't mention Transformers in this, but they had like the Lock and Key Sandman crossover. Sonic the Hedgehog has been doing good. X-Men and Ninja Turtles. Plus, they have a number of other like original titles that have been getting critical acclaim. So all of that's really good. I'm sure if the Back to the Future crossover ever comes out again, that seemed to do well in sales. The publishing side did have a loss, $500,000 loss, and it said that was due to writing down their tabletop games business, which they have exited. So they are starting to get rid of things that are not working. The entertainment side actually did generate revenue. They had V-Wars and October Faction. They got some credits from Canada, I guess, from filming up there. And then Wynonna Earp season 4 their final episodes have been delivered, so I guess they got money from that. I still don't think that their entertainment side, like, they need to split that off, but whatever. But I think things are looking pretty good from this report versus the last one we looked at. And they're also working towards registering with a national stock exchange. So I guess right now they're not on like NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. Looking like this summer they're planning on moving to one of the national stock exchanges. And that will probably cause an influx of funds. So good news this time.
All right. I just hope that felon they have in the management doesn't embezzle all their money. So
yeah, I haven't looked at the actual call they had. I don't know if that came up at all. It'd be interesting if it did.
All right. Well, that's good news for IDW. So we're we like IDW. We like the folks at the who've been working on comics there, and yeah, we want to see the Transformers comics continue and all the artists and writers continue to get work. So seeing that they're hopefully could moving towards stability and profitability is good.
Yeah, now I'm wondering next quarter won't some of the Shattered Glass figures be out?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm wondering what the including of the comic with the figures is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be interesting to see.
All right. Well, that's all the comics news. So let's move on to our comic review. All right. So by popular demand from Daryl, we are reviewing the Transformers Annual 2021. And this is titled Light/Star. Written by Brian Ruckley, art by Alex Milne, colors by John Paul Bove, letters and design by Jake M. Wood, editor David Marriott, assistant editor Riley Farmer, and supervising editor Tom Waltz. So we've got two covers. Cover A is an awesome image by Alex Milne of Light Bright basically interfacing with all of the characters in the annual. So you've got all the Technobots, you've got the villains, you've got Thunderwing, Bludgeon, Arachnid, you've got the Titan Lodestar and the Titan bad guy Vigilum, all weaved in there. It's a really cool image. And then we've got the retailer incentive cover, which is Optimus Prime Pointing by Freddie E. Williams II and colors by Jeremy Caldwell. So one thing I guess, and Daryl, I'm going to go to you first because I'm sure I can guess which cover you like. But one thing that surprises me here is apparently Alex did his own colors on this cover as well, which is something he normally doesn't do.
That's right. And I had a chance to chat with Alex about it, and he had just mentioned that he'd had some time, and as we all kind of noticed, he's been not not working a ton, so he's decided he's going to teach himself how to color. And it's a great way to learn how to color if you're going to get paid for it too. So he'll draw the covers and then color them as well. So yeah.
And looks like he's a quick study because it's an awesome job.
He's done a very good job, yeah.
So I'm assuming that's your pick for for the cover for this book.
Yeah, you don't even have to ask me. I remember talking to him about this cover though, and IDW Megatron is like IDW Megatron from like I think Series 1 or the first round is in here too somewhere. Oh, really? Yeah, I couldn't find him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's buried a lot of characters in this jumble of wires. So, yeah. But yeah, the detail in this is just wicked. So yeah, you don't even have to ask me which cover.
Mike, which cover would you pick?
Cover A. Alex's cover, not even a question.
Jeremy, we're going to make it unanimous?
Yeah, there's no way that the other cover even compares. I mean, I'm not a fan of that kind of style of the retailer incentive one anyway. That kind of puffy metallic kind of painted look, and just Alex's coverage is excellent.
Yep, and I will agree and make it 4 out of 4. Yeah, this Alex's cover, it just knocks it out of the park. And I mean, of course, it ties directly into the story and the issue, so that's also a bonus. But yeah, just the awesome composition of the image, how all the characters are woven into this this giant mesh, and it's just a cool image. Mm-hmm. I see Vigilum is like, I see he's like got 3 of his own little profiles here, and then the third one is like super huge, like because I guess he's looming large over the entire storyline here. Cool. All right,
also,
well,
the wiki credits John Paul for the colors on the cover image.
Well, they would be wrong.
Well,
yeah, TF Wiki.
Guess I should go in and edit it then.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the story. Out in deep space, the Black Hub is a major Cybertronian space station. There, the Technical Solutions Team, or Technobots, consisting of Strafe, Nosecone, Lightspeed, Afterburner, and Team Leader Scattershot, rendezvous with Titan starship Lodestar and her city speaker Lightbright. Their mission, track down the rogue Titan Vigilum, who is responsible for destroying the tether between the Winged Moon and Cybertron, kicking off the new Cybertronian Civil War. Their first order of business is to upgrade the exploratory ship Lodestar's weapon and armor systems so she'll be a match for the more battle-hardened Vigilum. But both Lodestar and Lightbright are particularly concerned with one weapon the Technobots have added, an imploder. It's a particularly nasty weapon of mass destruction that was used against other rogue Titans in the previous war. Scattershot assures Lightbright that she and Lodestar are still in charge of the mission. They're only providing this weapon as a last resort. After several ship cycles, Lodestar's weapons are upgraded and tested. She's uncomfortable in her new role as a warship, but she's the only Titan still awake and functional who can pursue Vigilum. Finally, Lightspeed brings word to Lightbright as she and Lodestar share a private dance party. After scanning and searching, they found Vigilum docked at the Hexagon space station, which happens to be run by Thunderwing. As they arrive at Hexagon, Lightbright, Lodestar, and the Technobots decide to start with the diplomatic approach. While Scattershot contacts Thunderwing directly, Lodestar and Lightbright try to reach out separately and covertly on an encrypted comms channel to the reason with Vigilum. Neither effort is successful. Lodestar asks Vigilum to surrender and submit to stasis, but he refuses and ends the communication. In parallel, Thunderwing pleads ignorance of Vigilum's recent actions on Cybertron and only claims he was willing to aid an injured Titan and fellow Cybertronian. And if Vigilum is a threat, trying to take him by force would endanger his Hexagon station. Scattershot realizes he isn't getting anywhere and tells Thunderwing they're going to continue this conversation in person on the station. The Technobots take a shuttle to Hexagon Station, and when they arrive, they are greeted by alleged assassin and possible criminal, Bludgeon. To make matters worse, Thunderwing's personal guard bots are the mercenary Conehead Seekers, Thrust, Dirge, and Ramjet. If you judge him by the company he keeps, Thunderwing is looking sketchier and sketchier. Thunderwing scoffs at Scattershot's veiled accusations. After all, Thunderwing was a big deal during the expansion of the Cybertronian colonies, and he's served Cybertron for longer than the Technobots existed. Scattershot is unimpressed. He and the Technobots have been given authority by Cybertronian colonial security, and that authority is derived from the Cybertronian Senate. Thunderwing angrily retorts that there is no Senate. But Scattershot is unmoved and declares they will suspend repairs and energon flows to Vigilum, try to get him to submit peacefully, and if necessary, eject him from the station. Thunderwing hesitates but ultimately backs down, declaring Scattershot will be responsible for any fallout. Dirge leads Lightspeed and Strafe to the Energon Conduit node, while Ramjet and Thrust lead Scattershot and Nosecone to the Docking Control Center. Afterburner stays in the command center to keep an eye on Bludgeon and Thunderwing. Immediately, Lightspeed notices something is off. Since they already accessed the Hexagon station schematics, he realizes they are walking past a section of the station sealed behind a secure door that is not on those schematics. Lightspeed mentions this out loud, and Dirge immediately turns his weapons on Lightspeed and Strafe. Suddenly, the Technobots' comms are being blocked. Scattershot realizes they're cut off, and that's the last straw for him. Along with Thunderwing's questionable new bots under his command, and the fact that Thunderwing knew the Senate had been overthrown, but somehow didn't know Vigilum had destroyed the tether, it all adds up to a very fishy situation. Meanwhile, Afterburner also realizes something's gone wrong and immediately orders Bludgeon and Thunderwing to stand down. But Thunderwing is sure Bludgeon is more than a match for Afterburner and gives the word to attack. Everything kicks off at once. While Strafe keeps Dirge busy, Lightspeed works to get in the secret door they found. Scattershot fires back against Thrust and Ramjet, while Nosecone transforms to drill tank mode and drills an exit into the station atmosphere circulation pipes. Afterburner just gets his fender kicked by Bludgeon, knocking him into the hallway. On Lodestar, Lightbright realizes the Technobots are in trouble, but they can't help them now. They have to keep monitoring Vigilum. Lightspeed finally gains access to the secret chamber, and they find some kind of lab area with a glowing energy source at its heart. But more importantly, Lightspeed can access the entire station's control systems from the room's computer console. Meanwhile, Thunderwing broadcasts an audio message on the station's PA system. He orders everyone on Hexagon Station to clear the main corridors while he takes care of some uninvited guests. Thunderwing goes into full villain rant mode while the Technobots continue to deal with his minions. Afterburner's light cycle mode manages to evade Bludgeon's firepower in tank mode. Bludgeon still thinks he's faster than Afterburner, so he's not a threat. But he didn't realize that Afterburner was a distraction, and Nosecone and Scattershot were going to pop out and provide backup. Nosecone's drill delivers a direct hit to Bludgeon, knocking him unconscious. Before they can celebrate, Lightspeed gains control of the station comm system and cuts off Thunderwing's ranting. He then gives the other bots directions to meet him and Strafe at the secret chamber they discovered. Back at that chamber, Lightspeed and Strafe are greeted by a new enemy, Arachnid. And she is a bona fide criminal, wanted for performing lethal experiments on other bots. She's also used those experiments to upgrade her own body, so she's a pretty credible threat. Before Arachnid can attack, Lightspeed takes the moment to detach Vigilum from Hexagon Station. This only enrages Arachnid further, and she unleashes a full onslaught. Just then, the other three Technobots arrive to even the odds. Scattershot grabs one of her spider legs and flips her over, only inflaming her further. Her body emits a powerful explosive blast, knocking all 5 Technobots into the energy source in the chamber. It turns out Arachnid was doing some crazy experiments in this secret lab. She was trying to artificially create new versions of ancient Cybertronian artifacts, and it looks like she succeeded with one of them. She managed to create a synthetic enigma of combination, and the Technobots just absorbed it. Computron is born. The Coneheads and Arachnid are no match for this new combined form of the Technobots. Arachnid radios Thunderwing and tells him to jettison the section of the station while they can, before Computron destroys the entire Hexagon station. Thunderwing, cursing Scattershot, grudgingly pulls the switch. Computron is left floating alone on a platform section in space. Meanwhile, Vigilum attempts to escape while Lodestar pursues him. She still tries to talk him down, begging him not to fight, but his response is a hail of missiles fired back at her. Further from Hexagon Station in deep space, both Titan ships transform to their massive robot modes and continue their fight. Lightbright and Lodestar realize that there is no other way. They must use their last resort. Lodestar ejects the imploder capsule from storage and grabs it in her hand. She forms a fist and thrusts a mighty punch into Vigilum's torso. The imploder activates, creating a miniature black hole that absorbs all of Vigilum, along with Lodestar's right forearm. Lodestar and Lightbright are damaged but alive. Lodestar can't transform back to Starship mode, but she can still navigate in space. As they turn away from the imploder's destruction, they mourn the loss of fellow Titan of Cybertron, Vigilum. Several cycles later, the Technobots have managed to disassemble back to their individual bots, but they are stuck floating on the ejected section of Hexagon Station. They've got no atmosphere, artificial gravity, or energon reserves. But eventually they're saved as Lodestar and Lightbright find them. Lodestar isn't in great shape, but she can make it back to the Black Hub. On their journey, they receive more bad news from Cybertron. There was a disaster, and all the other Titans, still sleeping in orbit, crashed to the surface and were destroyed. Lodestar is now the last living Titan. And that is the end of the Transformers Annual. I really enjoyed this story. I mean, it was a nice self-contained story. We got awesome art from Alex. I mean, we've already talked about his artwork on the cover. I mean, the interior was excellent. Also, I mean, the fact that this is an annual, this was actually 30 pages rather than the normal 20 pages for a comic. So it's really Alex really was able to shine here. John Paul Bove's colors are also great as usual. I really liked the redesigns of the Technobots, the designs of Thunderwing and Bludgeon, Arachnid, the Conehead Seekers, all those bots. I think Alex really loves to redesign classic bots and put his signature stamp on them, and he did a great job here. I was particularly impressed with Thunderwing and Bludgeon, and we have some sketches in the back of the comic that show the character designs, which I think are awesome. I should also mention Arachnid. She has a triple changer design where she's both a spider and a helicopter, calling back to her previous designs from Transformers Prime. And I think this is a cool story, and the art was rendered excellently, and I like the introduction to the Technobots. Although they're never actually called the Technobots in the comic, they're the Technical Solutions Team, but they're the Technobots. And having Computron show up was cool too. So Daryl, I know you've got lots to say. So what did you think of this comic?
I mean, okay, so I'll admit I found the beginning of the book rather slow. Just kind of gearing up to the kind of climax of it. I was just kind of like, come on, let's go, let's get to it. But I'm really not going to complain about having more pages from Alex. I was really I'm really impressed with his art. I always will be. At the beginning of the book, like all these new space stations and stuff, it's unbelievable the amount of detail. The interior shots, you get a shot of Jazz on the big screen, which is a direct callback to the Transformers '86 movie, where you get Jazz on the big screen there before everyone takes off to go to Earth. And down in the front, you get Metal Hawk on one of the control consoles. And I've talked about it when we were mentioning like Anna Malkova's art and how she started to populate the planet, and with bots that don't have anything to do with anything, that they're just there. And Alex is the king of this. Like, he's got bots everywhere doing random shit that you can look around in the corners and you'll just see characters just kind of hanging out or doing something, and they'll be in alt mode and they'll drive around or fly around, and Alex's worlds are fully populated. You can totally see that this is a fully functioning station, and there's shit going on, and that's one of the main reasons why I really love Alex's art. The Technobots, they looked great. The redesigns on them were fantastic. I gotta say, I agree with you. The redesigns on Bludgeon and Thunderwing, I absolutely loved. Those are two really badass characters. The Bludgeon redesign actually threw a little bit more of like an RID kind of Bludgeon, the RIG 2015 Bludgeon, kind of design, where his chest kind of looks like a face. And I love it. I absolutely love this design. And I really wish that they would make a toy out of it. And I know that they won't, but I really wish they would, because Bludgeon's he's so badass.
Third party.
Could be. You never know. If this Bludgeon, we don't know if he survived. He probably did. But, if he starts showing up, if they had, a Thunderwing and Bludgeon, team that kind of made it back to the main series, that would be pretty badass. You see the Coneheads flying off into space at some point, when that hexagon is ejected off, and you really don't know if they survived, but I assume that they just kind of realized that they could fly in, space and transformed into their alt modes and got back. But yeah, once the action started kicking off, I was fully into this book. Alex can draw an action sequence like nobody else, and I loved it. So yeah, I really enjoyed the book. If it was condensed down, as far as writing goes, if it was condensed down to a regular size book, I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more. But like I said when I started talking, I'm not really going to complain about having 30 pages of Alex's art.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention was in addition to the artwork and the designs of the bots, I felt like, particularly with the Technobots, you got actual personalities for each of the bots. Normally with combiner teams, you tend to get maybe one or two standouts, but you don't get, some nice personality quirks for all 5 bots in the team. And I felt like they did a good job with each character on the Technobots team, having a little bit of a quirk, or, just a little bit of characterization. And I thought that was well done, especially like in the middle when the Technobots are split up into 3 groups, and then each group has gets to have a different set of actions. So yeah. All right, Mike, what did you think of this book?
Overall, I really, really enjoyed it. I will completely agree with the art. The art is amazing. An entire book of Alex Milne's art. Yep, sign me up for it. All the detail for it. Yep, completely good. I have zero problems with the art. I think it's one of like the big highlights of this issue. That being said, I'm okay on the plot and the story that they put through, or that was written, but there's like 2 kind of glaring pieces that I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it. So I'm perfectly willing to give a pass for the fake Enigma of Combination thing that they had going. And it's like, okay, that's the conceit of the plot. That's what's going to happen. Like, all right, fine, no problem. I'm okay with that. I'm good. They turn into Computron, and okay, he doesn't do anything. It's like, all right, he was just created. Okay, so he's still trying to find his mental footing in order to act, to do anything. But after those first couple of panels, you kind of get the sense that, okay, he's come to terms with who he is, and that he is a combiner, and he's made up of all the Technobots. And it's like you're okay with it. You expect it. You see it. It's like, all right, that part of the story is now done. The Computron has been created, and now it's going to be whatever he's going to do. Except he doesn't do anything. And the next time we see the Technobots, they're separated. So they had him combined as like a plot element that didn't go anywhere. They were just kind of this MacGuffin to say, all right, well, we can't possibly face them. Well, they were useless at that point. And you probably could have faced them. And you didn't. So I think it just feels like a lost opportunity where this combiner was created and then just did nothing. It just kind of, that was that. So that was like the really big thing for it. The other part that I had a little bit of an issue with was the ending with Lodestar. And now, don't get me wrong, I actually really, really love the idea of like multiple Titans. The more Titans, the better. But I think with the events of the last bunch of issues with the Titans falling, that's not going to happen anytime soon. So it's unfortunate that Lodestar is now the only one left. But at the end, when she kind of shoved that bomb kind of into Vigilum's like abs and annihilated him, it also annihilated her arm. Now, I don't recall if it actually said this in the text of the story, but she turned into a spaceship. You can't turn into a spaceship when you're missing a chunk of your body. It's not like a car or something. Like if Jazz lost an arm, he could still, in theory, turn into his car mode because his wheels are up on his shoulders, so he loses his forearm. Okay, sure, whatever. It doesn't matter. Same thing with Prime. I mean, Prime's going to look kind of weird with like half his front section missing, but he'll still be able to transform. Lodestar's a spaceship. You can't... that's it. I mean, is she now trapped out there? Like, can she even move anymore? Because presumably, when she transforms into a spaceship, she has some sort of faster-than-light travel capability. That's not a thing anymore, so... What, she just stuck there now? How do you replace a Titan's arm? I mean, that's bigger than most buildings. Like, how the hell is this going to work?
They addressed it in the book.
Oh, did they? Did I just miss that part?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think she doesn't transform back. She just
That's the point. She says I can't transform, and it's going to be a slow roll back to the where I've got to go. But at least I'm alive, something like that.
So I mean, you can see that the thrusters in her ship mode are on her shoulders. So I mean, I guess you can say like she can probably do some sublight travel in in her robot mode.
I mean, I fully understand and support that she's got some maneuverability, totally. But yeah, like she's not going to be able to head back to Cybertron or something, not unless she's just going to like float there and just try to push herself with like maneuvering jets or something. But yeah,
well, she has to. She has to get back to the. Yeah, she doesn't have to go back to Cybertron. She has to get back to that Black Hub space station, which may or may. I mean, they don't really tell you like how close the Black Hub is to the Hexagon space station, but I guess you can say.
Wait, the one run by Thunderwing?
No, the Black Hub is the one that's run by Jazz. That was in the beginning. That's where they started.
Okay, gotcha.
They left the Black Hub and then went to the Hexagon station.
Gotcha.
So they have to get back from Hexagon to the Black Hub.
All right. I suppose it could work, but it still just kind of like leaves her there for quite a while. So, all right. A couple of the really like the smaller points that I really, really liked. Right at the beginning, I think the first page or two, when I forget who it was. One of the Technobots was bullying the other one. At least that's how it seemed to me. Did anyone else get that vibe?
Was that when they were when they were playing the chess or whatever, or when Afterburner was mad because he kept losing at that game?
Was it? Wait, was it
Nose Cone?
Was it like a board game or something? I thought they were like fighting.
Yeah.
Or oh, okay. I completely missed that part too. Wow.
It was like that scene from Star Wars when Chewbacca is playing chess with R2-D2, and then C-3PO says, "Let the Wookiee win." Gotcha. I guess Afterburner's the Wookiee.
Well, I just think he keeps trying, or Afterburner keeps trying and just never wins. But I think that's the three-dimensional chess from Star Trek that they were playing.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
I mean, knowing that how much Alex likes Star Trek, it wouldn't surprise me.
But see, that's the vibe I got from it. Like that Afterburner was bullying, like the other one, and like Scattershot was like yelling at him for it. Maybe I misinterpreted it though.
No, I think it was he's just knocking over the board. Like it's basically like when a kid tantrums when he keeps losing at a game and he just knocks the board over. That's the impression I got.
Overall, I really, really liked it. There's a couple of small points here and there that I didn't agree with. I didn't like as much, but overall, it was still good. And of course, artwork is flippin' amazing.
All right, yeah. I mean, I think you do have a point about Computron being kind of just there and not really doing anything and just being a kind of a plot point. It would have been nice to have him actually, like, maybe calculate since he's Computron, he should be able to, like, I don't know, calculate a way to get back to Hexagon or something and I don't know, shut Thunderwing down.
Yeah, but he is still brand new. It is like still trying to figure out exactly what he is and what's going on.
Sure, and let's see that. Let's actually see them, trying to figure that out. It's just like it seems like they combined and then that was it. Whatever.
I just like the idea that the world now has Computron.
All right, Jeremy, what were your thoughts on the book?
I mean, story-wise, I like a lot of the lore. I feel like I'm a broken record here. I mean, a lot of the things that they are introducing, I really like. It was just the first half of the book was just so slow in getting anywhere. I don't know. It's like I said, I like the stuff that's being introduced. I just wish there was more action, or just it was happening in a more exciting way. Like when I finished reading the book, I was like, did anything actually happen? And then I realized that like all of the stuff on the second half was all the action, and I enjoyed that a lot. I don't know. For an annual, I just wish it was paced better, because an annual can be a one-off thing, and it just, I don't know. Story-wise, it was rough for me. The art was great. The colors were great. I have no complaints there. I just wish that the story was a little bit cleaner in terms of getting the, what Brian Ruckley wanted to get across. It just, I don't know, pacing and just, it was really slow where it didn't really need to be. But I mean, overall, like I enjoyed it primarily for the art and the lore that was introduced, having Computron and how he was formed. But yeah, I wish the writing was a little better.
Okay. And one last thing, just as I was thinking about it, is I did note it's funny because since we're dealing with pre-war proper, pre-Autobot Decepticon war, or I mean not pre, or like just beginning, where people have not declared themselves yet. You see clearly how Thunderwing's interests will align with the Decepticons. I mean, even in the sketches in the back of the book, Alex put Decepticon symbols on all the villains in this book, in the book. So you have Thunderwing, Bludgeon, and Arachnid, but in the story they don't have Decepticon symbols because they're not Decepticons yet, but they are kind of criminals on the who are leaning towards the Decepticons and probably going to join up after this incident. So
Decepticon-ish.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see how the Decepticons are attractive for the criminal element. So I thought that was interesting. All right. Well, that is our review of the Transformers 2021 annual. I hope this is a trend where we'll actually get another annual in 2022. It seems like these annuals happen maybe every 5 years. So maybe we'll get another annual next year. I'm hopeful. So that is our review, and we will move on to Transformers Media News.
In media news this week, we have some updates from the Transformers 7 filming. So there has been a casting call for vehicles from the mid-90s. So they're looking for extras for vehicles from 1994 for a shoot for the shoot Montreal. And the studio is requesting that anyone who wants to have their cars featured in the movie, well, featured as extras, to contact the studio and see what they can do. So, if you live in the Montreal area and you have an interest in having that, go ahead and contact the studio and see if you can get your car on there. Speaking of other cars, we have some sightings of a covered truck making its way across Canada that is assumed to be Optimus Prime. It looks like he is going to be a long-nosed truck, just like he was in the previous movies, not counting the beginning of movie 4, Age of Extinction. So, unfortunately, he has been covered the entire time, so there's no confirmation as to how he looks. But I think it's a safe assumption that it is very likely going to be a similar themed Prime to the last couple of movies. In casting news on Transformers 7, Luna Lauren Velez lands the role as the main character's mother. She's playing Anthony Ramos's mom in that film. So it's likely she is going to take a little bit of a side role for it, but she has been cast as the star's mother. She's also she's acted in Dexter and did some voice work for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was Miles Morales' mom.
I know her best as Officer Moreno on New York Undercover from the 90s. That was my show back in the day.
Was she a good actress?
Yeah. And we do got to give a shout out to one of our Donatreons, Skirt, who actually gave us the scoop on this actress joining this cast. And he actually had that information 2 weeks ago before TFW picked it up, because he had a friend in Montreal that told him about it. But we neglected to mention that on the show, so we could have scooped everyone with the news from our Donatreon, but we dropped the ball there.
Well, it was rumors at the time. Rumors from Skirt.
Skirt could have been he could have been the new Deep Throating.
Of course. Good on you, Skirt, and we apologize for dropping the ball on that. You are the best. We are the worst. In other media news, in gaming news, so we had the announcement of a new augmented reality game called Transformers Heavy Metal. Now, it's been widely reported that Niantic, the company that did Pokemon Go, is responsible for this, and that's not quite accurate. Niantic and Hasbro are partnering up, along with Tomy, are partnering up to create it. But Niantic is doing effectively the back end work for it, the actual game engine, because they've already developed this from Pokemon Go, and I think they did a couple other ones. I think they did like a Harry Potter one and a Counter-Strike game as well, if I remember correctly. But the game itself is actually being developed by a Seattle-based studio called Very Very Spaceship. I have never heard of this studio. I took a look at their website, and there is very, very little information on it. Pretty much it's just contact information, and that's it. So I wish I could say that they have a proven track record of creating games like this, but honestly, no idea. But yes, they are developing the game, and it's going to be an augmented reality game, very similar in theme to Pokemon Go. However, one of the big differences is going to be you are playing a human that is partnered up with, what is this?
The Guardian Network.
Guardian Network. Yes, thank you. So yes, you're playing as a human partnered up with Guardian Network to aid in the Autobots' fight against the Decepticons. From the limited screenshots that have come out so far, it doesn't look like you're not the one actually doing the fighting. You're helping to gather resources and then maybe taking like little pot shots at Decepticons. But you're effectively playing as a human in the middle of a battle between Autobots and Decepticons.
Boo.
Yeah.
Why do they always? They should not make you pick sides. Like they should allow you to pick a side. They should allow you to be like. I mean, if they're going to go this route where you're the human helper or whatever, allow you to help the Decepticons too. Maybe you're a bad guy. You want to be a Decepticon.
They can't give you everything right away. Otherwise, you don't have any incentive to keep on playing.
I guess.
A friend of mine, I was talking with a friend of mine a while ago about like human characters in Transformers, and he raised an excellent point that no one who watches Transformers watches it for the human characters, even though the human characters are supposed to be the relatable ones, the ones you pretend to be. But no one does that. Like when you were a kid, no one was pretending to be Spike or pretending to be Chip. You pretended to be the Autobot or the Decepticon that you enjoyed. So when it comes to games like this and you play the part of a human in the middle of this fight, I agree, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you're not, in a fight like this, you don't want to be the human. You want to be the Autobot or the Decepticon.
They didn't make any toys of Spike and Sparkplug. You got the toys of the Transformers. When you're playing with the toys, you're pretending to be the Autobots and the Decepticons. You're not pretending to be Spike running around saying, "I'll get inside Bumblebee and drive around."
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how this game comes out. It looks like it has a release date of somewhere around the latter half of this year. There's no solid release date yet, but maybe sometime like October, November, or something like that. But yeah, so any of you guys planning on giving this a shot, trying it out?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna check it out. I've never played Pokemon Go, but I mean, I'll at least give it a weekend's worth of trying it out.
It's a free app. I mean, I played Angry Birds Transformers for much longer than I had any right to. So I'll try this. I'm sure it's not going to be great, but we'll see. At least the art style looks interesting. So I mean, maybe there'll be some good Transformers art.
Sure.
I think we're all required to try it.
Right.
That's the rule, huh?
Yep.
I played Pokemon Go for about a month or two. And this art style does, or like the city art style, like the background art style does feel an awful lot like it. So I'm wondering if they just lifted a lot of the designs right from that game and then popped in like the Transformers stuff, because the Transformers characters look very, very different than from the backgrounds and the environments.
I mean, do they even need because if it's an AR game, I am assuming you're going to have it's going to look, your phone's just going to be placing them in real space looking through your camera. So maybe that's just a generic placeholder because they don't even need those background environments. They just need the character models.
If it's anything like Pokemon Go, you are going to need at least something for the background in case like your camera's not working or something like that. Although Pokemon Go highly recommended a camera, but it didn't require it. So you could turn off the AR aspect of it, and then you're effectively just playing it on like a generic 3D background.
Oh, okay.
So that was an option, and for lower powered phones, that actually was I think one of the reasons why a lot of people were able to play it.
Like all mobile games, don't spend any money on this. It'll be free to play. There will be some kind of microtransaction gems or energon bits or something that you can spend real money for. Don't buy it. Don't put any money into this game.
Certainly. And it's likely going to be a huge battery hog because you're going to need to have your location data and your camera enabled for most of it.
Yep.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it and see what it's like when it comes out. Maybe we'll do a review on it and see how it goes for everyone. But that is it for media news.
All right. Well, that takes us to the end of Transmissions Alt Mode. Thanks, everyone, for watching or not watching. Thanks, everyone, for listening. As always, we end the show by giving a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrons. So thank you again to John 4X Levengood and Dinobot Maximize for being awesome and contributing to the show at the highest level. Mike, thanks again for joining us this week, and also thanks for editing all our shows. We really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Anything else to plug while you're here?
Well, always listen to Empire of Rust, the world's first and only Transformers RPG podcast. And come check out my photography and 3D work over on Twitter. It's at Minervion, Minervion. And you'll find all my work on there. Or on Instagram, same thing. Yeah, pretty much Minervion everywhere.
All right. And if you want to help out the show, you can buy some merchandise from our TeePublic store. That is at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. We've got lots of shirt designs and masks and other merchandise you can pick up there. And if you want to buy anything from TeePublic, use our link, and that still helps us out. So transmissionspodcast.com/shop. And that's it. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're done.
Later.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
All right, here we go.
High energy. Daryl, come on.
All right.
Just jab yourself in the gut a couple times. You'll wake up.
I think bleeding out might diminish my high energy there.
Only in the long term.
So this is the first combiner that I can think of for this new Transformers world.
We already have Devastator and
Abominus.
who's the first? And Abominus.
Oh, we do? Okay, well, shit.
Yeah.
What does it mean that Scattershot has absorbed this artificial enigma?
He is the MacGuffin now. In media news... Oh, I'm actually going to do the movie stuff first, then the game.
Okay.
Nobody cares, Mike.
Well, I think Charles does, because if I start doing it out of order, he'll complain about it.
Nah, he's turning off his headphones right now.
Okay. Good to know.